Hello everyone, I hope I am audible. I am Muhammad Ishan Arifin Hossain, welcoming all to this presentation today. Uh, Today, in this presentation, I'm going to talk about some tips and techniques regarding IELTS, how to get 7 plus in the IELTS exam. And I think in this whole presentation, I have to take feedbacks from you guys so that we can make this presentation a good one. So I need your feedback in the comment box as well. So can you just type in the chat box if you can hear me well or not? So let's begin with this. Just type in the chat box if you can hear me well or not. And I think I have started seeing some replies in the chat box. So I'll be waiting for your reply whether am I audible properly or not. Just uh, type it in the chat box. So uh, today's topic is a bit different from your typical lectures because your typical lectures is related to uh, English speaking. So it's a 12 days English speaking challenge. But today we'll be talking about the IELTS. So the IELTS exam is very essential for them who are willing to study abroad, who are willing to work in abroad, and for proving your knowledge or your skills in English, you have to sit for the IELTS exam in most of the cases. Uh, Thank you for the reply. Walaikum assalam, Insana, and thank you for the reply for assuring me that you can hear me. And Muhammad Ali, thank you for the replies. So before going to the details of IELTS, let me introduce myself so that you can understand understand a bit about my background as well. So thank you, Muhammad Ali, for the reply. Um, so let's jump into the lecture first. Walaikum assalam, Sami. Walaikum assalam, Jibon. Prince. Walaikum assalam, Nazmul. I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking me. So currently I'm studying at Teesside University in the UK for my master's, and I have achieved the British Council Great Scholarship. So it's a scholarship uh, for people with good or uh, glorified academic backgrounds. So uh, by the grace of Almighty Allah, I have received the scholarship and I'm here studying my master's. Uh, and I have that scholarship for the funding of my master's. And I have received a band score of 8, a total band score of 8 in IELTS. Um, and the band score helped me to get a good advantageous position for this scholarship. So IELTS is related to everything, from getting scholarships to getting university admissions and to get visas. So IELTS is related to everything. If you are willing to study in the UK, especially, you need this IELTS for this other university admission, for getting a good funding or scholarship, or for getting the visa as well. So after that, when I came here into the UK, even if you try to speak with the native people, you'll find that yes, they do not follow the rules and regulations that much as the natives, but yes, the practice you'll be having while preparing for the IELTS exam will help you to cope up with the communication scenarios as well. So I'm trying to tell you about the significance of IELTS exam. I guess you already know the significance. That's why you are here. You already know the significance of English language, and you already know uh, why to learn English. So you're here for that reason only. And I hope that you all will achieve your goals as well. So thank you for the replies, SH Khan. Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well. What about you? Rajiv Chandrudas, thank you for the reply. Before coming here in the UK, I was working as a lecturer of computer science and engineering at Southeast University. So I am on a study leave right now. So I'm still a lecturer there, but I'm on a study leave because of my studies here. So that's all about me. I hope that my background will help you to understand more. And Walaikum Assalam, Rami. Now I want a feedback from you guys. Please write in the chat box whether you are understanding my English or not. I'm trying to talk very slowly for this reason, for this class. And I'm trying to use simple English words so that you can understand well. So just write in the chat box whether you're able to understand me clearly or properly. Just write in the chat box that yes, sir, or yes. Um, Thank you, SH Khan, for the reply. I hope that you guys are understanding me properly. Then I'll go through. Thank you, Nazmo. Then I'll go through some of the contents related to IELTS exam. Thank you for your replies. I hope that you're understanding me clearly. So let's go to the contents of the IELTS. I don't know whether you are familiar with the structure of IELTS exam. Do you know the structure of IELTS exam? So just write in the chat box that yes, I know about the structure of IELTS exam. If you guys know the structure of IELTS exam, then this class will also be helpful because I'll be going through the structures as well. And I'll be giving you some tips and techniques from my own experience about getting a good band score in IELTS. So I'm waiting for your replies whether you guys are familiar with the structure of IELTS exam or not. And I'm trying to open a slide. Okay, you guys don't have any idea. No problem. We'll be going through the basic structures of the IELTS exam today as well. So I'll be showing you a slide where you'll get to see which kind of modules and which kind of tasks or which kind of skill set will be tested in the IELTS exam. So I guess most of you do not have any idea regarding the structure, regarding the rules and regulations of the IELTS exam. I'll be trying to show you that as well. First, let me open up a slide. It will be just a moment. Now, can you please inform me whether the slide is visible to you or not? Yes, I have a question from someone that where do I live? Currently, I live in the UK. Thank you for asking, but some questions are too personal to answer. All right, just write in the comment box whether you are watching the slide in your screen or not. The screen says Road to IELTS, the beginning. So, okay, thank you very much for the feedback. So, let's go to the definition. So, what does IELTS stand for? So, IELTS definition, IELTS is the International English Language Testing System. So, I from the international, E from English, L from language, T for testing, and S for the system. So it makes IELTS, IELTS, designed to assess the English language ability of people who intend to study or work where English is the language of communication. For example, the countries like United Kingdom, United States of America, Canada, Australia, they all accept the IELTS exam. So you'll get around 2 hours and 44 minutes, including breaks in between the modules for the IELTS exam. So understanding the IELTS format. In the IELTS, the candidates are tested in 4 types of skills. They are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And there are 2 types of IELTS. One is IELTS academic. It's mainly for them who are going to study abroad. So this IELTS academic test is for the students, and there is another type of IELTS exam, which is IELTS Generating Training. It's called IELTS GT in short. It is basically for them who are trying to work in abroad in English speaking countries. They need to sit for this IELTS GT. Okay, and then we have 4 skill sets to be tested: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So for the listening test and the speaking test, this format is same for the IELTS academic and the IELTS GT. But for reading and writing, there are some differentiations between these reading and writing questions for the IELTS academic and the IELTS GT test. So the listening exam, it will be an exam with 40 questions, with 40 questions, and you'll have 30 minutes for this exam for answering the questions, and you will listen to 4 recorded monologues and conversation. So these 4 recorded conversations or monologues will be played, and you will have a headphone in your ear when you sit for the exam. They will be playing these monologues, and you will have question set in front of you. You have to listen to the audio and you have to answer the questions based on the audio in real time. That's a daunting task, but it's doable if you practice. So you'll get 30 minutes for this, for answering 40 questions based on the 4 monologues and conversation played. And you'll get 10 minutes extra for transferring your answer to a different answer sheet. So 40 minutes in total for the listening exam. I have some questions here. One question is that which subject are good from humanity department for masters? That's a very specific question, and as I'm from computer science, I do not hold a firm idea regarding your question, but people here study international relationship, which is called IR, a lot. I have seen them doing successful jobs, and people here study English from the humanities or the arts department. They study here English as a postgraduate subject as well, and there are many success stories in these subjects as well. So I hope this answers your question, because I'm not a specialist in humanities, but I have told you what I knew from my experience. And then I have got another questions. Another question is, tell us about the syllabus of IELTS. Yeah, it's not like it has a syllabus. It is a language test. So you cannot confine a language into a syllabus. So try not to make everything into a school planned exam. This is not a school exam or your typical college exam. This is a test of your language ability. So there is no fixed syllabus for this. And then which course are teaching related? I have another question. They have, as I'm again telling that I'm not from this background of humanities and arts. There are some questions. There are some courses regarding English language teaching. They say ELT here in the UK for the masters. So those are the teaching courses, and some education courses as well in the Department of Education in many universities. They have some specific course for teaching and education. I hope that answers your query, Rukia Begum. So let's move on to the next sector. Next slide. So here you can see the listening test. So I have told you earlier that there will be 4 sections or 4 different monologues and conversations that you will hear. So the first conversation will be a conversation between 2 people set in an everyday social situation. So this will be a very basic conversation, believe me, and they will have conversation regarding accommodation or any kind of social scenario, like you are calling to a library, you're talking with a librarian, something like that, very basic conversational scenario, and you'll be asked some question based on those, based on that conversation. So the first audio played is this conversation between 2 people in a social scenario. The second one, the second audio that will be played in the listening test of IELTS is a monologue set in an everyday social situation. So a monologue is something which is a speech of one single person, that is called monologue. So only one person will be talking about the everyday social situation. So that's a monologue. So the second audio will be a monologue. So a speech of one person. Okay. Then number 3, listen to a conversation between up to 4 people set in an educational or training context. So the number 3 audio will be a conversation, but here there can be up to 4 people. So you listen to 3 or 4 person in your audio while you are going through the audio number 3 in your IELTS listening test. And then let's move on to the task number 4 or section number 4, where then you will again listen to a monologue. This will be more of a lecture. It can be an academic lecture. So it can be a university lecture, hall's lecture, but the subject will be generic. You will be understanding everything. So these 4 are the audio test set for the IELTS exam. So these 4 audios will be played. These 4 kinds of audios will be played in your IELTS listening test. So 2 monologues and 2 conversation. So I hope that this gives you an idea about the IELTS listening test. So how to do well in this scenario? I know most of you don't have any idea about the IELTS, but when you will be starting your preparation for the IELTS test, you'll get to know, or you'll get to understand that the longer you listen to the English speaking, the better your listening skill becomes. So try to listen to English conversations a lot, and this will, believe me, this will be helping you to improve your band score, especially in listening. So you can watch BBC News, you can watch English documentaries, and for those who love to watch movies, you can watch movies, English movies without subtitles. So that's the main thing. Do not watch English movies using subtitles from now on if you want to sit for the IELTS exam. Watching movies, news, documentaries without English subtitles will be helping you to get a good grasp on the listening part of the IELTS exam. And if you are listening to me and if you're understanding me right now in real time, then I will say that you have a good listening skill as of now. So you need to work on that to be able to get a better band score in your IELTS exam. Then I have another question. Sir, if anyone want to communicate with you, how we can communicate with you? Okay, that's a good question. I will be sharing my Facebook profile, I guess, here in the chat box, and you can text me if you want something, if you want to know something. Then let's go to the reading part. So as we're talking about 4 different modules, one is listening, another one is reading, another one is writing, and the last one is speaking. So they will test these 4 skill set in the IELTS exam. So this 4 skill set is actually very essential for reflecting that you know a language very well. So you have to be very cautious, you have to be very gracious when you are working on these 4 pillars of the language. Again, the pillars are listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So let's move on to the reading part. So we'll be giving 40 minutes for the listening test, but for the reading part, we'll be having 1 hour for the reading part in the IELTS exam. And in this 1 hour, you have to go through 3 long passages. These, I'm talking about passages having 2 or 3 pages, so big passages. You have to go through these passages, and the passages can be having the diagrams, the maps, some graphical things in the passage as well. So the passage topic will be generic so that everybody can understand, but the passages will be long and they will be having some difficult English words in them as well. So you will have 60 minutes to go through 3 passages, and each and every passage will have questions, and you will be having 40 questions in total to answer. So this is somehow similar to the exam of Bangladeshi education system that we are used to. In our SSC and HSC exam, in the English part, we used to read some passages and answer questions from those passages. It is similar to that, somehow similar to that, because you have to read a passage and answer some questions from the passages. So the format is a bit similar to that, but the question format, like fill in the gaps and MCQs, directing sentences, writing the main theme of the passage, these are the types of questions that you have to face in the IELTS exam for the reading test. So yeah, you have to read 3 passages and you have to write 40 answers to the 40 questions. And in the 60 minutes, because you are getting 3 passages, you will have 20 minutes each to solve each passage. So you will have only 20 minutes to answer the questions from one passage, and 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes, in total 60 minutes or 1 hour for answering 3 passages. Okay, now I can see some new questions or some of your feedbacks or comments. Let's read. Muhammad Ali said, I understand your talk, but I don't understand news. Okay. Now, yeah, so you need a bit more practice, no doubt about that. But let's talk about the English sentence structure. Um, you have to work on your English as well, Ali, because, for example, you have written here, I understood you talk. So this is not a proper English. You have to say that maybe I understand or I understood your speech, or I understand or I understood you talking, but I understand you talk is a bit offbeat English. So try to work on the grammatical structures of your English as well, because the grammar is very important in the IELTS exam, because you have to write, you have to speak, you have to give 2 tests where your grammatical skills will be tested fairly and distinctively. One is the writing test, where you have to write English sentences, so you have to know proper English grammatical structures in order to get a good band score in the IELTS writing. And in the speaking, they will also be judging you based on your grammar as well. So your grammar has to be top notch. I'm not saying that your grammar has to be 100% perfect, because nobody is 100% perfect. Even I'm making mistakes, surely, in my speaking. Surely I'm making mistakes because I'm not a native speaker. But your grammar should not have any major mistakes. We can all have some simple mistakes in our speech because we are not native speakers, but we should not have major mistakes like the mistakes in the sentence structure, the mistake in the tense. Yeah, we can do some mistakes, but if our total speech is full of mistakes like this, then we are in trouble. So try to learn English grammar before trying to sit for the IELTS exam. And then I have another question. reading is the hard module. Is okay. Reading is very hard module in IELTS. Okay, yeah. I have something to say here. Yes, reading uh, is one of the hardest modules in the IELTS exam, but the fact is, no, I'm not talking from the perspective that because I have achieved a band score of 8 in IELTS, that doesn't mean that I'm telling you that everything is easy. No, everything is not easy even for me. But the fact is, the reading module is the only module that can be improved with significant practicing. So believe me, if you practice a lot, so that's what I was going to tell you about the reading module. It is the only module where practicing will significantly help you to increase your band score. For example, today you sit for one reading module test and you get around the band score maybe 5.5. After practicing 100 passages, 100, after practicing 100 passages, I am sure I can write it down that your band score will improve for that from that 5.5 to at least 6.5. Reading is such a module that these band score of the reading module will be improved while practicing. So this is the advantage with the reading module. You can say, so sir, how can we improve the other modules? So can we improve our band score in other modules via practicing as well? Yes, you can. But the fact is, the reading module is such a module that is designed to get improved, to get a good band score while practicing. If you practice more in reading module, you'll get a good band score for sure. But for the speaking module, for example, your speaking skill set cannot be improved drastically in just 2 or 3 months. We're talking about your skill set from your childhood. Your writing, it cannot be improved within 2 or 3 months of practicing, because the IELTS test actually judging your whole English language ability, your whole English language understanding level from your childhood. So these skill sets cannot be improved drastically or significantly with just 2 or 3 months. But the reading module can be improved just by practicing. So that's the difference between the reading module and the other modules. So your reading skill set can be improved just by practicing. Just believe me, I know nobody here till now practice 100 passages. Just if you are facing difficulties in reading module, start solving passages. That's the best way to get a good band score in the reading module. There is no shortcut but practice. Just practice, practice, and practice. Okay. So in the reading test, I have already told you that you will be having 3 sections in the IELTS academic reading. So these passages are taken from books, journals, magazines. So they are written for a non-specialist audience. So the topic of the reading module will be generic so that everybody from every background can understand the topic of the reading module. Okay, and there can be diagrams, illustration, graphs in your module as well. So that's all about the reading test. You'll get 1 hour, 3 passages, 40 questions to answer in the reading module, and I have already talked about how to get a good band score in the reading module via practicing only. No shortcuts, sir. Then let's talk about the writing module. Like the reading module, it's similar to the reading module in terms of timing or in terms of duration. The duration is also 1 hour, 60 minutes. But here you will be getting two tasks. In the reading module, you had 3 passages, 40 questions to answer. But in the writing module, you have only 2 questions to answer, 2 tasks. So the task 1 is report writing based on the charts, on the summaries. So you will be given a diagram, a bar chart, or a map, and you have to write a report from that graphic chart. So the task number 1 is writing report, and this report should at least be 150 words. And then to write a short essay, that's the task number 2 or the question number 2. You have to write an essay. So these 2 tasks, yeah, you need to follow the structure, grammatical structures. And for this module, try not to write the same words again and again. Your English has to be good, that's true, but even with by knowing simple sentences, by implementing simple sentences, you can get a good band score in writing just by not using the same words again and again. So in your writing, try to bring some different vocabularies. So try not to write same words in your writing. Whenever you are expressing something, try to bring new words. It doesn't have to be a very massive or unfamiliar word. Your word it can be a very familiar word, but you have to write different words. It can be any words that we use in our daily life, but in the writing module, try to write different words for expressing your opinion. So do not repeat the words in your writing, and try to follow a grammatical structure. And there are also some techniques to get a good band score in writing that cannot be described in this short amount of time. So it is out of scope for today's lecture or today's session. But there are some other uh, tips to get a good band score in writing. So like writing the topic sentences, the thesis statements for the essays as well. So I guess you're not familiar with these terms like topic sentence, thesis statement. That's why I'm not going into the details of that. But uh, as a generic suggestion for getting a good band score in the writing, try to follow grammatical structures and try to express your opinion using different words. Do not repeat the same words. That will give you a good band score as well in the writing test. So getting a good band score in writing test is hard. So in terms of the band score, the writing module is the toughest module in Bangladesh. To get a good band score in writing is tougher than the rest of the modules for many people. For most of the people, I should say. Okay, I have another question. In which book will we practice? Okay, we have a very generic book for the IELTS exam. Everybody practice from that. The Cambridge IELTS practice book. So if you are familiar with Nilkhet in Dhaka, the book market, if you go there and if you say give me the Cambridge book for IELTS, you'll get them. There are many series of these books from 1 to I guess 16 till date. So this series of books have model tests or the mock tests, and this book is published by the Cambridge publication. So these are the official IELTS books, official IELTS practice books. So you do not need to buy any other publisher's book. I am not recommending any other book rather than the official Cambridge IELTS book. So you should practice from those books. Those books have some official mock test and official IELTS questions. You have to practice from that book to get a good grasp in the official format of the IELTS exam. So the writing test, I was talking about the writing test. So you have to write in a formal style. So another tip or another technique is not to write casual English. So as they expect you to write formal English, do not write, "Hey, what's up?" in your writing exam. And same goes for the speaking test as well. They're expecting you to use formal English. So do not greet your speaking examiner by saying, "Hey, what's up?" No, this is not meant for the IELTS exam. IELTS exam is testing your formal English language ability. So try to be formal whenever you're writing or whenever you're speaking for the IELTS exam. And in task 1, you'll be presented with the graph or the chart I have told you earlier. And in task 2, you have to write an essay. And here the topic of the essay can be a response essay from your point of view. We tell them opinion-based essay. There can be compare and contrast essay. So these kind of essays from any of the general issues, maybe they will tell you to give your opinion on some general social issues, or they will tell you to compare and make the contrast illustration for a social issue as well. So the topics will be generic, and the essay, you have to maintain a decent format, a particular format for the essay. You have to write at least 3 or 4 paragraphs to get a good band score in the essay as well. So there are many formats, even for the task 1, which is report writing based on the illustration, based on the maps, charts, and graphs. You have to write in a distinctive format. You have to make different paragraphs. So you have to follow those rules in order to get a good band score. And yes, I'm not going into the details of this, but just keep these in mind that these have also a distinctive formatting in order to get a good band score. Then let's come to the speaking. The speaking module has 3 different tasks. It will take around 11 to 14 minutes for the speaking module. And just remember, the other 3 modules, the listening test, the reading test, and the writing test, they'll happen together. So you'll be having around 2 hours and 30 minutes for those, 2 hours or 40 minutes for those, 1 hour for reading, 1 hour for writing, 40 minutes for the listening, so 2 hours 40 minutes in total. And you'll give that exam in one sitting. So those modules exam will happen together, but the speaking test most probably will be taking place on a different date, even on a different place, on a different time. So the speaking module is different because you have to sit in front of an examiner for your speaking module. So the date of this speaking module may be fixed later or earlier than your reading, writing, and listening test. So you'll get a different date most probably for the speaking test. And for the speaking test, you'll get 11 to 14 minutes. And I have already told you, you'll get 3 tasks for the speaking module. And as this is a face-to-face interview, it is very common for you guys to be nervous, to feel cautious, to feel frustrated, and for eradicating the frustration, the nervousness, for overcoming or for being confident in front of your examiner, you need a lot of practice, my friends. Practicing is the only key for success in the speaking module as well. So from the start or from the beginning, of my lecture, I have been telling you about practicing. So I'm not giving you any shortcuts here, my friend. There's no shortcut to success in anything. So please try to be prepared or try to fix a time for practicing. If you are willing to sit for the IELTS exam, there is no other shortcut of practicing. All right. So in the speaking test, you'll get 3 modules. I have told you this earlier. These 3 modules, the module number 1 is introduction and interview. It will, the duration of this will be 4 or 5 minutes. And here you will be asked some short questions about yourself, like where do you live, why are you taking the IELTS exam. So they will be asking you some short questions, and you have to answer those questions using 2 or 3 sentences. So after that session of 4 or 5 minutes, then you will get the part 2. You'll get to the part 2 or the question number 2, which is individual long run. Here you'll be given a cue card, a card where the topic will be written. In that cue card, you will be given one topic. So it's like a raffle draw. Even the examiner doesn't know your topic. So you have to pick that cue card. So there will be a lot of cue cards. So it's like a raffle draw or lottery. You have to pick any one of them. So the topic in the cue card will be different for each of the cards. So you have to pick or you have to choose any one. You cannot see the topic because it is written in the other part of the card. So you have to choose any card, and then when you have picked one card, then you are allowed to read the topic there. So you have to give a 2 minutes uninterrupted speech or continuous speech based on the topic written in the cue card. So this is the most difficult part for the IELTS speaking test, where you have to talk for 2 minutes without any interruption. You have to talk for 2 minutes about a topic without any interruption. Nobody will interrupt you. Nobody will ask you anything. You have to talk for 2 minutes. If you fail to talk for 2 minutes on that topic, you'll get less band score, even very significantly less band score in your IELTS speaking test. So this is one of the most significant tasks of the IELTS speaking test, talking or giving a speech for 2 minutes without interruption. And then the task number 3 or the question number 3 is the two-way discussion. Here, like the part number 1 or the task number 1, the examiner will ask you the questions, but unlike the part 1 or the task 1, here you will have broad questions. So you have to answer broadly. So the examiner will ask you some explanatory questions, some broad questions, and you have to answer broadly. So for the part 1, the questions were short questions and you had to answer using 2 or 3 sentences. But here in the part 3, you have to answer with a broad mindset. So you have to answer with explanations as well. So the part 3 is two-way conversation or two-way discussion. Here you will be asked broad questions and you have to answer them broadly. So how to get a good band score in the IELTS speaking test? This question is a very significant question and there is no short answer for this. There's no magical sentence for this. You have to practice. But what you can do, because you have to follow the grammatical structures, and for getting a good band score, I am telling you, you have to implement different words in your vocabulary. So while you're speaking, you have to use different words. So you have to use diverse set of words in order to get good band score. And you have to know a plethora of words, but it is not needed to know like very difficult words. If you know very difficult words, that's good for you. But even if you are using the everyday English words, there is no problem. But you have to implement different set of words. And you have to show the examiner that you know how to implement different tenses. So you have to use past tense, future tense in your discussion, as well as present tense. And your sentence structures, in your sentence structures, you have to use complex and compound sentences more rather than the simple sentences. And that is also true for the writing module as well. In the writing module as well, you have to implement uh, complex and compound sentences in your writing more as much as you can. Do not use simple sentence structure. So we all know there are three types of sentences in English: simple sentence, complex sentence, and compound sentences. So the more you use the compound and complex sentences in your writing and your speaking, the more band score you'll get. So try to implement complex and compound sentences in your writing and your speaking to get a good band score. Try to implement different tense in your speaking to get a good band score. And for improving your band score, you need to implement a diverse set of vocabulary. I mean, different English words in your speaking. Do not repeat yourself using the same words. And for practicing, I'm giving you a tips. Try to fix a friend. Try to find a friend or a colleague or a relative whom you can talk for at least half an hour in English every day. Try to find someone. If you start practicing English every day for half an hour, it will help you to reduce your nervousness, to reduce your frustration, to reduce your shyness while you are speaking English. So practicing with a friend, with a family member, or with a colleague will help you to get rid of the nervousness while you are taking preparation for your IELTS speaking as well. So these are the things that I wanted to discuss regarding the IELTS exam. Now let's look at your questions. Do you have any further questions? If you have any further questions, you can write in the chat box, please. So I guess I'm done with the presentation, so I'll be stop sharing. Okay, so if you have any further questions, write in the chat box. And for finding me, I am giving my Facebook link, I guess, in this chat box. So if you want to give any further suggestions, or if you want to contact me, okay, I have given my mail address in the chat box. So if you want to contact me, you can mail me. So that's the I guess one of the good solutions. So okay, I have given my mail address in the chat box. Thank you, everyone. So I'm waiting for your questions. If you have any further questions, you can ask me, or okay, those were trying to reach me. I have given you my mail address in the chat box. You can text me as well, and I am writing the mail address here as well. I'm showing you in the video. If you want it, I can give you the mail address. Okay. So sharing my mail address in the screen as well. So that's my mail address is ishanarefin@gmail.com. So that's my mail address. All right. So thank you guys. If you have any other questions, you can write in the chat box. I'm ready to answer those questions, and I wish you very best of luck for your exam. And as you already know, hassle-free education is also a center for the IELTS test booking, and they have some free course going on for the IELTS preparation. So you can bind with hassle-free education for your free IELTS course as well. And this is also a IELTS registration center. You can register for your IELTS exam uh, by going through the procedures in hassle-free educations. So when and how we'll apply for the IELTS exam, it's up to you. You only know when you are required for sit for the IELTS exam, right? So for applying, you can always contact with hassle-free education. They have all the procedures, and you can ask hassle-free education if you want to register for the IELTS exam. So that is the answer to your question, I guess. Any other questions? Hassle-free education, they have the IELTS registration facility, and they have some free courses regarding the IELTS exam. You can find free IELTS resources in the YouTube as well. So there are some free lectures in the YouTube regarding the IELTS exam. So I'm talking you about the free resources. So if you want to find free resources, hassle-free education is providing you in YouTube. You can find free resources, so those will help you to get a good preparation for the IELTS exam. And when you should sit for the IELTS exam, the easy answer is, if you want to join for the higher studies, before applying to any university, especially in the UK, you have to have the IELTS score. So before applying, try to sit for the IELTS exam, get a good band score, and then apply for your higher studies in the UK. And is there any other questions? So if you have any other questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll be taking my leave. It is already, I guess, late night in Bangladesh. So I guess you don't have any other questions. So thank you very much for listening to me, for listening to today's class. It proves that you have a keen interest for learning English. You have a keen interest to set a good pathway for your career in life. So I wish you guys all the best, and I hope that you guys will be able to succeed in your own pathways. You guys will be able to fulfill your dreams. And by having a good wish for all of you, I am Muhammad Ishan Andifin Hossain, taking my leave from this IELTS class, and maybe we'll be meeting you someday. Till then, Allah Hafiz. Oh, okay. Have you any time schedule for IELTS? You can mail me if you have any other personal question right now. I didn't understand your question clearly, but I am taking classes here in the hassle-free education as well for the IELTS preparation. If that is the question you asked me, I don't know. But, and you can mail me if you want to know the other details. Thank you very much, and of course communicate with hassle-free education for the free IELTS course and for IELTS registration. Thank you very much. Goodbye.